All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observation, and entertainment. I ask that you comment, like, share, and subscribe. All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observations, and entertainment. I ask that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Good evening, everybody. This is DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. I'm coming to you live from the 571, where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. So today, I don't know if you saw my little commercial today. We're gonna take a little trip back, like back in the days. Um, the song everybody that's known with this a rapper Ahmad came out with back in the days, back in the about the early 90s, and he was talking about the 70s. Now, I happened to grow up during the 70s and 80s, and I remember a lot of things that we used to do that these kids ain't got nothing and they don't know anything. So before I start, I'm going to talk to my lovely co-host, the sister from the same mister, the one and only my favorite girl, the chocolate Pearl. What's going on, Pearl? Holla at your boy.
Hey, y'all, this is Chocolate Pearl calling you from Dubai. Ready to get this topic going on. I unfortunately didn't get a chance to read it, but I know I'll have some type of something to say about whatever we're talking about.
We talking about how
Over
kids.
here shaking his head. Yes, yes.
I'm saying, we're talking about things that we did back in the day that our kids wouldn't know nothing about.
Well, she got her headphones on, but my daughter moved in with us and she got her headphones on, so I don't know if she can hear, but this is probably a topic she needs to hear.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
come on,
oh yeah.
Nicole.
I would say something, but that's something that would be on a family call. We need to talk about. Oh, well, anyway, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna say what's up to the usual crew, Miss Kim, coming from the 703, Miss Summer out there in lovely man ass, and Big Al down there in the 706, the Augusta, Georgia area, and DJ Dabs, originally from Seattle, and lovely Duval County, chilling like a villain. We got Miss Nikki on the YouTube street. She's out there watching us on YouTube Live. For some reason, my Facebook Live is not working, but my TikTok Live is still up. If y'all don't know, y'all can check us out. Like, share, and subscribe. The more we get, I'm trying to get to 50,000 before the end of summer. 50,000 people. So tell a phone, tell a friend, tell them that the corner is here again every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern, 8:30 Eastern. Now, I'm going to come off with a little bit of levity. I don't know about y'all, but we used to play when we were kids. We used to play games like freeze tag, Red Rover. Today that would be called abuse. That would be called Johnny on the Pony. Them games would be called abuse because you play Red Rover, and you look for the smallest person, and you run towards them. We always put the small people on the end, and they would hold persons both hands, and the object was to break their line. Some people got clothesline, and it was fun to us, but it would probably be banned today. I don't know. Did anybody give me a hands up if y'all play Red Rover? Anybody? Miss Kim, you ever play Red Rover?
Yes, I did.
So which side were you always on the winning side, or did you ever get clotheslined?
No, I didn't get close line, but I always tried to run as fast as I can because I knew who was the weakest link. So I always go that way, that route. So because it just was funny to me to break it, and then when you broke the line, the hand, I'll fall. So it was just hilarious to me.
Oh yeah. That was a game. And I don't know, Miss Summer, you ever play a game called Red Light, Green Light?
Of course, they made and as a matter of fact, it looks like they made what is it? A
Squid
movie.
Games.
Squid Games is mirroring that a lot. Yes, but I remember
Red light,
that.
green light, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and you have to
Yeah,
freeze.
that's right. And then Duck Duck Goose. Okay, I'm telling on myself. Let me stop.
Oh no, those were the games. Those are the games. Now Big Al's a little bit more mature than all of us in here. I'm sure there are games that he used to play as a child in Louisiana that we didn't play in the 70s and 80s. How about you, Big Al?
I played Mama and Daddy, where I was the daddy and the little girls in the neighborhood were the mommies.
Hey, look, we played that too, but it was rated
Keep that one on the
PG.
rap sound.
Yeah, it was PG, but you can get you a little kiss here and there and a hug here and there.
Oh
But
yeah. Oh yeah.
Us
And
ghetto kids went a little further than that kiss.
yeah, you got me. That's why I was
oh
a
man.
father at 15 with 2 kids.
Ooh. So Big Al, what's a game that you played that we probably didn't know about?
Uh, let's see. I'm trying to think. Probably being one of the oldest members here. Uh, a game. I did the red light, green light, but for me, whatever season it was, whether it was basketball, football, baseball, just played that sport from sun up to sundown. So,
Sundown. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
up and
Chocolate Pearl can
down.
tell you I was always outside.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Say we always smelled like outside. Um,
Yeah.
some what you got for me?
Well, my mother is from the Bronx, and she used to tell me that she always was outside playing handball. So I thought that was,
Yes,
interesting.
yes,
Yeah.
Oh
yes.
She
yeah.
was
That's
she
We
a
was
actually
playing.
had a handball court at our school, on our school playground. There was
Yep,
a
on our
handball
elementary
court.
school, PS1,
And
Um,
then there was
Jacob
also a
Blackwell
handball
School,
court at the end of our block, the back of the neighborhood, right under the bridge,
right under the
going
bridge.
towards the train station.
There was two
It
names
was
for
a
that
handball
park.
court.
There was two names
okay.
for
Yep,
that park: Side Park and Baby Park.
yep.
Oh,
Those are the two names for that same park, but those were the two names: Side Park and Baby Park.
Yeah.
Um, what West Coast? I know we're from all different parts of the country. So DJ Dav, what were games that you guys played growing up?
Well, we played a lot of the same, but at one of my elementary schools, we played this game. It's kind of like wall ball dodgeball. It was a big giant wall, and it was down in this. There was a gym on one side of this wall, and there was a fence and a big brick, kind of like a brick wall on the right side of the gym. But it was like a walkway from down the stairs to the gym, and there was a wall behind it. So you would try to throw the ball as hard as you can at the wall and have it come back and hit another kid. And you're both standing on the same side. So you bam it off the wall and try to hit them. And not, either they catch it, and it's kind of the same as dodgeball, but we played it against the wall. Now, I think that was one of the funnest games because you could tag somebody pretty good because they weren't really paying attention.
Oh yeah. Oh no, trust me, we played wall ball. We called it something different. Um, where if you like drop the ball, you had to put your hands against the wall and bend over, and people threw the ball as hard as they could, try to hit you in the
Oh
butt.
God. All
Ghetto
right.
games.
Yep, ghetto games.
But yeah, yeah, trust me, we had those games too. We got coming in a little bit tardy, but she's always at the party. What's going on, Apple? Introduce yourself and holla at the crowd.
Hey everybody, this is Apple. calling from NYC. Actually, I'm calling from Colombia. I'm on my way on a very luxurious vacation tomorrow, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun. But I had to get on today just to
Okay, I
check on
appreciate
my
that.
peeps.
I definitely appreciate that. We missed you last week. I know you were at on Johnny's funeral, so I know you was it was one of those somber days. But
It
today
definitely was. Yeah.
we're talking about back in the day, our kids don't know our kids don't know outside. They only know video games or things like that, Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. The only time that they're outside ain't our outside. I'll just leave it at that. So, what game did you play as a little girl that the gremlin wouldn't know about?
Red light, green light, but she know about that because of that movie. But
Right.
she didn't
Squid.
know that that was an actual game that we played when we were younger. And Red Rover, that was fun. Ringalario,
Oh yeah, Ringalario. Oh
yes.
gosh, we had so much fun with that one. For those who don't know what Ringalario was, you got two teams. It's usually boys against girls, but sometimes you have mixed teams. And the object was you have a stationary object called base, and your team had to guard the base. If you caught somebody, you had to say Ringalario 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. That means they were caught. They had to go to they were at the base. And if somebody came and touched the base and yelled free, everybody ran free. Kind of like jailbreak. But that was a fun game. I remember my boy Macho, he probably remembers this. My boy Macho, we were about 14, 15, and we were playing boys against girls, and there was this young lady named Dawn. We used to call her Big Dawn because she was kind of tall for her age. She was like 5'8" at 14. And she was guarding the base, and everybody else was caught. The rest of our team was caught. We were like, Macho, Macho, Macho. Macho ran towards the base, and she clotheslined his ass. I was like, we was like, oh. And then you had to count, and everybody ran away. But hot peas and butter. Does anybody remember that game?
Like it was yesterday. I remember that game.
Al- Big Al, did you ever play hot peas and butter?
No, I have no idea what that is.
It's sort of like hide and seek, but it's an object. The person hides the object, and you yell hot bees and butter, come and get your supper. And then, as they get close, it's kind of like Marco Polo too, because you had to go, you're warm, you're cold, you're cold, you're warm, you're warm, you're warm, you're hot. And see, in the hood, we played with belts. So if they got the belt, they start swinging the
I don't know
belt.
what that was called, but I remember. Okay, after you explained it, now I know remember that. But
Yes, I
I didn't.
remember that. Belts all the time.
See, I don't know why, but we were violent little children. But we grew out of that though. Because if our
All
kids
of
played
mine.
that,
Ain't
Ain't
nobody
nobody
gonna
gonna
hit
hit
me.
me.
That's
but
why
yeah,
But
I
I
ain't
those
playing
ain't
no
played no
dodgeball.
dodgeball
Cause as
because
soon
as
as
soon as
somebody
somebody
hit me
hit me
with
with
that
that
ball,
ball,
I
I
was
was
coming
coming
after.
after.
I had a
Mm.
couple more games that came up in my mind.
what's that, DJ Dabs?
So one of the games, I don't know if you guys remember, I haven't seen any in a long time because back in Washington, at all the schools, they tore them all down. But there was a things, it was called the Crow's Nest, or it was a big, like a half circle, but it was probably at least 17 feet off the ground from the top, from the middle of this thing, and it was shaped like it was shaped like triangles. There's a bunch
Yep.
of little triangles look like a web. So we used to play this game on there with Chase the Monkey. So
Yep.
we were crossing chasing the monkey and people until a couple of kids got hurt, really bad. A couple of kids got hurt really bad, so they tore them all down. But that was one of the
Yeah.
games.
Because
And then
look, I tell you, we used to swing on swings when we were little, and they didn't
oh
have no
yeah,
padding. And I was with my cousin Michelle, and we went over to the side park where they had swings, and I swung on the swing high, and was dumb behind, left the thing off because I was trying to jump the fence, and I slipped backwards, and then she woke me up. I was like, Yeah, so kids are yeah, there were a lot of things that we had, you know, said a lot of times we had that, but there was a lot of dangerous stuff that we did. And you know,
Swinging so high you jump off of it. And but
We did that.
oh yeah.
One time I was I had roller skates. I was actually in at Grandma Francis' house in Manhattan.
and I had my roller skates on, and my aunt told me not to roller skate behind the people who were swinging. And the person swung so hard towards the back, it hit me, and I lifted up and landed.
I bet that was Aunt Catherine that told you that.
Bone in my hip.
Or Aunt Julie.
It was Aunt Julie. And I chipped the bone in my hip, and I promise you I didn't do that ever again.
Did grandma beat your ass after that?
No, she said it because I guess my ass was beat because of the situation, because I barely could walk after that. I chipped the bone in my hip.
What about Daddy? Did he do anything?
No. I think that's I suffered enough for that. But yeah.
Hey, because our mother would have been like, good. You shouldn't have done it anyway.
Shouldn't have done it. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't go to my listen, y'all don't know. My mother, I love my mother, she's been sleeping peacefully for almost 16 years coming up. But that woman did not have a sympathetic bone in her body for her children. We do something, we
but
fall.
Not her children.
Her children. That's what I meant. Her children. Now, you could bust your behind, and she look at you and say, "See, you shouldn't have been doing that." Instead of, "Oh, baby, come." No, we didn't get that. We didn't.
Yeah, wipe it off.
Wipe yourself off. Walk it off.
You good.
Get up.
Go on about your business.
She always say, "That's what you get." See, I told you to stop. That's what you get.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. I couldn't understand it till I saw somebody. You see other kids fall, and their mother or father come over and be like, oh baby. Man, our mother was like, and you could be, you walk with
trying to toughen us up. Yeah, don't baby them, Hey, but about it. The grandkids they said she did the same thing with the grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
When they got to the point of talking, that's when you good, get on up type thing. But when they were like, toddlers, she would, oh yeah, I'm sorry, oh the boo boo. But then once they got to, walking and talking, man up, even for the girls, man up.
Oh yeah, but like I said, we loved our mother. Make no mistake, our mother did the best she could. But empathy or sympathy was found between shite and syphilis in the dictionary. That was only sympathy you was getting. So let's go.
Wait. Speaking of that, has anybody's mama or father ever tell y'all when y'all walking in the heat and y'all thirsty and they broke? Did they tell you?
Drink and spit.
Many a times.
Just make sure that we're just our parents.
Look, I'm getting flashbacks here. I'm getting flashbacks.
Right?
I'm gonna ask Miss Summer. Did your parents ever say, "Do you got store money?" If you ever said, "I want McDonald's," the answer from our parents was, "You got McDonald's money?"
Okay, this is wasn't that before Eddie? Our parents said it before Eddie Murphy did, but Eddie Murphy put that in his skit.
That's right. You got Burger King and McDonald's at home.
But wasn't it funny? They always have Burger King and McDonald's money for the grandkids, though.
Oh yeah,
definitely. Like grandma, so I that for them. Shucks, I even took my kids and I didn't know nothing about it until I got older.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't never took my kids to no hibachi. They
They
didn't know
didn't know
what a
what
hibachi
hibachi
was
was,
until
but
they
they did
got
a
a
good
job.
job.
Oh yeah, trust me. It's just funny how you know, Miss Kim was the youngest of of all her siblings by far. So did your parents ever do that to you, Miss Kim? Ask you to say, hey, um, you ain't getting it.
My mother, she was the mean one, but I always played. I was the one that played one against the other. So if she told me no, I went to daddy because I was the baby girl to get my way. So yeah, because I was, as you say, I was the oops baby. Because it's such a big gap between me and my siblings. Being the oldest is 20 years. So yeah, I was like the only child. So by the time they got to me, they were tired. So it was just like going to give it to her anyway to get her out the way.
I know I would be like
My
that.
boys say
I
that
ain't gonna
now.
hold you. I'd have been like that.
My
uh,
boys
Either
say
my
well, my daughter because she was the last one,
yeah,
and I guess they felt I got tired. I said, no,
yep,
I still treat her. She just didn't act bad like y'all did until she got older. That to me, that was different, but they didn't see it in that way. She didn't
mhm,
know what a real spanking was or punishment was because she didn't get in trouble when she was younger. She started getting in trouble when she got in high school. That's when she started smelling herself.
yeah,
But
I got in
other than
trouble
that,
too.
I have no problem with it. So I gave, and then at that time, I actually had more money. So I was
Yeah,
struggling with the two oldest, but the youngest one, I had more money. I had two jobs and my spouse was working as well. So we were able to spend a little bit more, treat her a little bit different. But they don't see it in that manner. They just say that, you treating her different. That's all they see is you treating her different. But they don't really, I will say this about my children. Uh, they actually learned because I raised them similar to how my parents raised them. And I know probably a lot of y'all had the same thing, but I raised them to where, hand-me-downs is good because I tell them, I said, the less I got to spend on your clothes, the more I can spend on something else. So they understood that concept. So they didn't mind hand-me-downs. They always had food. They always got what they, like whatever toy they wanted, they always eventually got it type thing. But these kids still don't understand that the struggles that we had to go through because we didn't have in my generation the only video games we had was Pac-Man on the video box that you had to put a quarter in
yeah.
or Atari.
oh
Now I
yeah,
know I just aged my I just Lord I know I just
Huh?
huh
Pong,
Oh, and
oh,
pong,
Pong,
oh,
right, and
pong.
Pong.
Pong and
yeah,
Tank. Those are the first two
Right, right,
games.
right.
And
Pong
oh,
and
ColecoVision, y'all
Atari.
remember ColecoVision?
I
Oh
was getting
yeah.
Oh
ready to say
yeah.
ColecoVision.
Activision.
So,
so
telling them.
about those games. Now I think they're actually coming back, but they're coming back as a retro game. So, it's
Right.
still fun for them because it's just something a time to pass by. But that's what we only had. Those are the only video games we had. But before they created those video games, you're right. We had to go outside, play double dutch, hopscotch. Y'all remember the jacks?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Checkers. You also played
Pickup sticks.
Oh
toe
yeah.
on the
Pickup
ground with
sticks.
chalk,
Yeah.
huh?
You remember pickup sticks?
Pickup sticks.
Sticks, yep. Pick up sticks. You know, they don't understand that today. They don't understand that today.
And
My
one of the
my
things.
daughter to visit me this weekend, and we were just kind of talking, and she says that her godson, who I think is how old is Manny? 12, I think. I think he's 12. Oh, he's about to be 13. So he said, Auntie, it was something, I forget what it was. She said, television. Oh, did you television when you were younger? It's only what? She just turned 24? 34, excuse me. She just turned 34, I think.
It be your own peoples, man. It be your own peoples. Like
Hey, I remember when we got our first TV.
Hey, we can't say too much because we said the same thing to our parents, but we actually, color TV was a novelty when we were growing up. I said we used to
Yeah,
have a
because we
color
had
TV.
black and
It
white.
had two colors, black and white.
That's right.
Go ahead,
Black and
Summer.
white.
I was gonna say, all this stuff is like flooding in my mind right now. I'm thinking about, and I'm about to tell my age where I wasn't allowed to watch Benny Hill because that
Oh,
was considered
Right.
fresh. So
Oh,
I
I
couldn't even
forgot
watch.
Betty
My
Hill.
parents didn't even let me watch Benny Hill because they was like, he's too fresh. So
oh yeah. Oh yeah. We used
Just
to watch
watch
it at you
popcorn.
could only watch it after a certain time because it wouldn't come on
Yeah.
before 10 o'clock. So if you was up and you watched it, as a young man, I used to watch it to see boobies. Because sometimes they would flash. And
With
we'd
no
be like,
soft porn.
be
But
looking
we just
for it.
thought it was adult stuff that we couldn't watch, but we tried to stay up to watch it and sneak and pray that our parents went to sleep.
Yeah, definitely. Because our father worked third
So we
shift,
had to
so he
go
was
upstairs to the
gone.
neighbor house and watch it.
Oh yeah.
We
So,
had to go to the neighbor house and watch it.
but yeah, it
TV
was
got shut off at a certain time,
well, TV went off
because
at a certain
Went
time.
off, yeah.
yeah,
After
it just
Reverend
went off.
Ike, it was Peach Fuzz.
Yeah,
They don't know about that today.
They don't.
They
Oh,
don't
and
know
then
that.
Spangled Banner at the end of the night.
That's right.
and then the commercial that would come on. Do you know where your kids are?
Know you
Yeah.
obsessed with me and I get it. Stay in your lane and stay out my business. Over there.
Fuck niggas, fuck niggas, fuck niggas, fuck all niggas,
Oh,
fuck y'all niggas, y'all like this
I got
ass,
it. I got
y'all
it.
like y'all niggas is getting cooked, y'all got sucked, getting sucked, y'all got sucked on.
that
It's gotta be an ass.
is so stupid.
That was
Anyway,
random.
very random.
Very.
Yeah, they
Did
do that
somebody
every
hack
once in
it
a
or
while.
something?
No, I let them in. That won't happen again, though.
Yeah, don't let them in no more.
Oh, that won't happen again. But back to the show is that those are and that's going back to if people think racism is over with, guess what? It is
It's not.
It sure
Right,
ain't.
that tells you right there.
It sure ain't. Miss Dream, what's going on?
Nothing, relaxing, chilling with the family.
Okay, so when you growing up in Pennsylvania, what kind of games did y'all play that your kids don't know nothing about?
I don't know. Maybe like, I don't know. My kids know about that though. Maybe like tetherball. Remember that ball with the string and you used to knock it around the pole?
Yeah, we ain't play that in New York.
Dang, we played that. We played that. And then I feel like we played, I feel like when I was little, I remember playing jacks, but I think I was in Jamaica playing jacks in this marble game where you used to like hit the marbles and I don't know what was the purpose
Yeah.
of it.
Oh,
Yeah, we
yeah.
used to make
Oh,
do a
that
circle
was-
around
Marbles,
and
yeah.
you had to try to hit without getting out the your
ball out of the circle. I remember that.
And of course, hopscotch was in PA. Oh, you know, we used to play three of cards too. Yeah, but I think three of cards is what my dad called it. But I think it's here. It's like gin rummy. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You remember? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Three of cards?
We played that when our parents allowed us to.
Right.
We wasn't supposed to touch cards until we got a certain age.
Oh, really? Oh no. Dad was playing cards early.
So we because you looked at the games because our parents and uncles and aunts used to play this game Pokino. It was like basically like bingo with cards.
I was just thinking about the Bokino. Yeah. Y'all
And
remember that card game
This
Spit?
day.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Spit.
Yeah. Explain spit, Kendra. I mean, Apple.
Oh, I can't explain it. Okay, you put the cards down, and whoever get the higher card. Am I doing it right? Am I saying it right? Whoever gets the high card, you got to try to grab the pile real quick or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
That was spit.
That's
we call it something else.
Do
Lay
like
it down, yeah.
And there were different games. There was a card game called War.
Oh yeah, I
If you
declare war.
I
Yeah.
Declare war, yeah.
You're not going to tell us that we need to come up with it.
Mhm.
So if you didn't, if you got the same, if y'all pulled the same card, same number on the card,
You
had
have to do
throw
I
four
declare war.
cards. I declared in war, and if that tied, then you did it again until somebody won.
Right.
Yeah,
Highest card.
that was fun. There was a lot of fights over that too.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
People used to fight over that. Those were games, and the difference in being melanated and not, and others is that our games got intense. You didn't, you didn't. There was no such thing as gentlemen or gentlewomen rules.
Right.
If you, those things was that.
That's like spades today.
Oh yeah.
There's no whole bar on spades. I had to pull a couple of my nephews black cards because they don't know how to play spades.
Yeah, you had to learn how. You had to know how to play spades because
In order to be
the worst thing.
you had to learn how to play spades.
Yeah, and you keep clowning me because I didn't teach my kids how to play spades.
That's right. I had to pull their black card.
But yeah, you had to learn how to play spades, and you bet not renege, and you bet not cut your partner.
Okay.
Those are
and you better pay attention.
Sandbagging, all that stuff. We used to be people used to fist fights, like wrestling matches.
That's one game I will
say that it has lasted through the decades.
And it's still the same. Because you learn, actually, I thought I learned in elementary school, because your parents didn't teach it. But, I learned in elementary school, you played at lunchtime. That was the game that you played, especially if you didn't go outside because it was raining or something, you played that card game. But that was the game that you played, and it is still to this day, people don't play about that card game. They don't play about their spades. Many of people stop talking to relatives because of the spade.
That and Uno. Yeah, people don't play about Uno too.
So which one is better? The original Uno, or excuse my language, this new shit these young people play?
The original Uno.
Original Uno. No.
That new
that's
stuff
for the original Uno.
See, but the thing was though, is that the reason they did this new Uno because we done bastardized the rules so much.
Right.
Because according to the rules of Uno, you can't throw a draw 2 on a draw 2 or a draw 4 on a draw 4. We didn't play like that.
Yeah, we didn't play like that. No. They be doing all kinds of stuff. They play by colors and
color
rules.
stacking.
And that's what according to the official Uno rules, you weren't supposed to stack draw 2s or draw 4s.
Right.
So yeah.
Hey, I got a good one. You guys play the ghetto laser tag?
You talking about water guns?
No, not with water guns. We used to play with socks, strawberries and blueberries. We put strawberries. We stuffed strawberries. We called it berry hop war. So one team would have strawberries in their socks, and the other team would have blueberries in their socks. And we would be we had like a flag that you had to get to, kind of like in laser tag. You had to try to get to the other team's flag.
In my house, you was getting an ass whooping for that. You fucking up the socks.
And wasting food.
Wasting that see, we related because I was thinking the same thing. Wasting food, hell no. That would get you get skint up. I mean, that's extension cord time.
But it was in a place where they had a lot of fruit trees and vegetables and stuff like that. So I guess they decided to waste that food, but for now, it's wasted nothing.
The only thing we threw that was anything was them little crab apples. Remember them crab apples used to grow on the trees? And we used to throw those at people, but it wasn't something you were supposed to eat. They told if they caught your parents caught you eating that, or somebody else's parents caught you eating that, you got your bottom tanned. And that's I mean, we look at it with fondness, but it was toughness, but you know, it prepared us for a harsh world. It prepared us for a harsh world. And overall, I don't think we prepared our children as tough because things were a lot easier for them than it was for us. Our parents,
Totally agree.
they came out of segregation. They came out of segregation. And don't people do not believe segregation didn't happen in the North. They just hit it better. They just hit it better. But they came out of segregation. So we grew up right after the Vietnam War. We grew up, people were coming back, especially in black neighborhoods. They were coming back on that horse. They were coming back on that horse. And then in the 70s in New York, that was a big thing before crack. As soon as we got rid of the horse, crack came.
Mm-hmm.
And similar to that. And then, things got better socially, and we kind of relaxed because we do not we did not raise our children the same way we were raised. Because some of that stuff is called child abuse these days.
That's right. You're right. You are so right. We raise soft children in this time.
They're
Yeah, we raise
marshmallows.
soft.
They
My
really
daughter over there
are.
making faces. We raise soft children, um, and a lot because I told y'all before, they are offended by not scared of nothing, but offended by everything, and they
Yeah.
soft in the mind, soft in the heart, and they just think that the world owes them something. We were raised that nobody owes us anything, but we got to work hard to get what we want. That's not here. That's not happening today. That's not happening today. They feel that, I'm not going to work unless you're going to pay me this amount of money, but I'm not going to go to school to get this education that qualifies me to get that money. You know what I mean? And so today's youth see things totally different than we were. And we seen things totally different than our parents and our ancestors and all that stuff. Yeah, generations change. But when it changes, instead of changing to be a little harder and stronger, they to me they just going complaining and whining and whining and whining and thinking you're supposed to have my hand out, you're supposed to constantly give, and they don't have to return or give anything back or work hard for stuff. They just don't. They don't feel that they have to do that. And that's what I see. Like what you talked about, you started out with the games. The games was good because we learned how to communicate. We learned how to play together. Um, we learned how to fight with our fists instead of guns and knives. We learned how to try to talk things over and everything. That's not here. The first thing they want to do is pull out a gun. No, go outside. No, I ain't going outside. It's too hot. Too many bugs. To this, to that. We were forced to go outside because our parents didn't want us in the house messing it up.
Oh yeah. I agree. I definitely agree with that. We was outside smelling like outside. And but one thing I can say that our children did better than us, they washed their asses better than us. 'Cause
Sir, you speak for yourself, sir.
hey, look, don't act like you was never funky.
When I went outside and came back in,
Yeah.
you couldn't smell funk on me when I woke up. That's a no, sir.
You had to take your bed. You couldn't go to bed dirty. You had to wash your tail before you went to bed.
Yep.
And you couldn't.
And I have a bad habit.
That bath you couldn't. And then we didn't take a lot of showers when we grew up. We had to take a bath. That y'all remember the little cap
Yep.
cap full of bleach? Some had Tide soap in there. This, detergent in the tub to make the little bubbles, but you came out clean.
The lemon joy. Remember that? The lemon joy.
The lemon joy in it to
Oh
make the
yeah,
bubbles.
wash it with dishwasher liquid and soap powder. Oh
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. That's when Tide was not cheap. I mean, Tide wasn't expensive. It's expensive now.
Oh
Back
yeah.
then, that's what you used was Tide.
Oh yeah.
They don't know nothing about that.
And if the bottle of dishwasher liquid got low, you put water in it, more dishwasher liquid.
That's
Wait, I do that now with my hand soap. Kids be getting mad. Why
or
is
you,
it
or
watery?
you put the hand soap into a jar with some water, and you wait till the hand soap gets soft enough till you can make you some.
You make more. But you know what though? But that's because we grew up at a time of lack, a time of relative scarcity. Yeah, stuff was cheaper, but our parents made a lot less. Now they made that stuff so inexpensive that you can get it in a dollar store, which ironically ain't a dollar no more, but who's
I'm
gonna
25.
say anything different? But yeah, those were the days. Those were the days. Said
I just
anybody
spent
else got any memories of things that they do that we did that they didn't do now? What I'm trying to
Like,
do
I
is
know it drives my kids crazy. I wash the plastic bags. That's how you know you're a Caribbean mom. I do not throw away the Ziplocs. I be like, you see, I got a whole situation. I mean, it has to be like really bad. And they be looking
the
at me like,
Ziploc
really?
bags. She's talking
Is that what you're
about.
thinking?
She's talking about the Ziploc bags, right?
Yeah, I still
Mhm.
do that. I still do that.
I still do that too.
and
I don't
and
do that, but I wash my plastic cups and forks. Ain't no,
oh,
that's reusable right there.
you get them 2 3 times, you get a good 2 3 uses out of them.
Yep.
But I mean, you do that because that's ingrained in you. Our kids don't know nothing about that because we ain't
Oh,
make them do that.
my kids know about
But
it.
I
They
did
throw
make
my
them
stuff
do
away.
that. I be thinking, you know how they used to always make us watch our panties. I don't make my kids do that because I hated doing that.
Put it in the washing machine, please.
I know, but Karen, you don't remember how they used to make us wash our panties? She's looking at her. She's like, don't you remember how they used to make us watch our panties? I ain't make my kids do that because I hated it.
And you talk about me. You address me as spoiling my girls.
She is a worse spoiler than me. Ridiculous.
Oh, please.
Ridiculous. Maybe that's hard.
The whole other part of the country.
But definitely those were the days. Those were the
Just
days that
saving your fried grease into the Crisco can.
hell, people still do that this day. Hold on, Big Al got something to say. Go ahead, Big
Yeah.
Al.
Yeah, growing up in Louisiana, man, we used to look for the tallest trees, and we used to like to climb trees as kids. And the taller the tree, the bigger challenge. And of course, Tarzan was our hero back then. So swinging on vines over the bayous and, giving that Tarzan yell were things that really entertained me and my brothers and friends as kids, climbing trees, man.
That's what's up. That's
Yeah.
definitely what's up.
There was a certain part when we were younger where they were trying to extend the or reroute the train stations, and they were bringing the actual stop behind our neighborhood, and they used to have these big giant cement barrels.
I remember those.
Because underground they connect them underground, but they had them above ground till they was able to put it underground. And when it snowed, me and I call him my god brother, Jason, we used to make a clubhouse out of it. His mother had this little radio, black and white TV, and he'll throw the extension cord from the fourth floor of his house all the way down, and we connected. We made some peanut butter and jelly sandwich with those barrel Kool-Aid drinks and some chips. And we sit out there and underneath that barrel, because the snow will be on the outside. We had little blankets, and we'd be out there and having our little clubhouse.
And y'all never let me join. Y'all never let me in the clubhouse.
No,
Sound like sour grapes to me.
And Robin, and it was somebody else with us, and we would go out there, and that's what we did. That's one thing we learned as when we were younger, when our generation was younger, we found a way to entertain ourselves, because like we said, it didn't make a difference if it was snowing out there or not. Our parents kicked us out the house and told us we need to go outside and play.
And you couldn't hang in the
And we
hall.
had
You had to
figure
be
how to
out the building.
That's right. And that's right. You couldn't hang out in the hallways. You had to go outside. And me and my friend Jason, we would find something to do.
Oh yeah.
We would,
Oh yeah. That
that
was
was one of the things I did. I made a little clubhouse in the projects.
see in New York, growing up when in the summertime when you couldn't get to the pool, they used to open the fire hydrants and take
Yeah.
a can and cut both sides. And then somebody
Yeah.
be on it with
You can be
and put the and direct the and you know that water's powerful.
yeah.
We done wasted a lot of water.
The water to where somebody would call up the fire department and they had to come back and close it up.
Because people's cars would get splashed. We didn't care.
We didn't care.
We were just having fun.
And you would pretend you would hold it down while the car coming by,
and then the car would have their windows rolled down. And we knew they had their windows rolled down, we'd go spray. And inside that car, we all wet up.
Now, Big Al, we did climb trees in New York. However, people would fall, and we ain't had no grass. We fell on the concrete.
Oh, jeez.
Because
because the grass, the little bit where the tree was at, they actually had it squared up just enough of a little bit of dirt for the tree to grow, but there'd be concrete around it.
Yes, and that was so yeah. People climb trees, but they ain't climbing like that because y'all had dirt, and dirt does hurt a little bit, but concrete make you bounce.
We have fruit trees.
Man, we ain't had no damn going fruit trees in the city. Yeah, but
Yes, we did.
Where?
Yes, we did.
What?
Towards Ravenswood.
I was about to say, on the same block as St. Rita's, it was an apple tree, and we used to go there and steal that lady apples all the time. I remember that.
That's right.
We used to climb there
and run because she would come out and leave my tree alone.
One apple tree.
Okay, one apple tree in all of Long Island City. Now, the thing about that was done on purpose, and that's why we have all these allergies today. I'm sure everybody in here got hay fever. Everybody. That's because they were only planting male trees, and male trees get you pollen. Because they look for fruit trees to pollinate. But if it's just like being at a gay man's club. You ain't nothing to pollinate. ain't nothing to pollinate. So we keep breathing that in, and after a while, if you didn't have allergies when you were younger, you have them now. And especially with Black people, we have a higher rate of asthma. We have bronchitis. We get bronchitis more, and that's one of the reasons why. Like if you go to Jamaica, they got fruit trees everywhere. They got fruit trees. I mean, you can just wait till they fall and pick them up, because there's some of them trees be tall as heck. But but that was one of those things that you wouldn't, we didn't really have that much. Go ahead, Dabs.
No,
we was talking about she told me to put on mute, but as we were talking about all these different games, one of the things that we did is kind of like almost like we say what our families had to do as slaves. They had to come up with stuff. So we used to just make up games, kind of like the Berry Hawk War, where I was trying to finish it and I got cut off. But anyway, we used to play another game. This is when I lived in California, and there were some plants. They looked like they looked like French fries. They're about the size of like steak cut French fries. And it was a plant. I can't remember the name of them, but they're a long green plant. And when I lived on the military base there was a big field in the back of our yard. I mean, it stretched all the way from all the complexes. Before there was a dirt path, and then there was the military base where we could watch the guys go back there and they do their practice and stuff. But we used to take these little plants and we used to play war. We used to pick them and just, throw them at each other like we're fighting with these little plants, another little tag game, stuff you just came up and you made up. Stuff kids don't do today.
That's crazy. But I mean, we all had our regional games, and but everybody had every kid played basically the same games, but we had to do it outside because you couldn't sit on somebody's couch because everybody had a couch whose grandma was whose grandmother or mother had that plastic on the couch that you couldn't sit on, or if you sat on it in the summertime, you were stuck to it. It was like fly paper. And then you couldn't go in.
The friend was shaking her head. Why was she shaking her head? No.
Oh no, she was.
Because I did not have such a thing in my household, and my granny didn't have that in her house.
See, but you're Jamaican though. There's a big difference in the in the U.S. We had.
First of all, what I'm telling you is my granny, who was Jamaican, did not have it. Her granny had it, but my granny didn't.
Okay.
It's just your granny didn't have it.
Okay.
Did everybody else granny have it?
Yeah. Grandma, aunt, cousin.
And if you and they like when we used to go down south when we were kids, there were certain rooms you could not go in. It was like a magic shield. If you went in that room, you might as well just pulled your pants down and bent over because you was about to get beat.
I got that room in my house now. The room with the blue sofa. Don't go in there. That sofa light blue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then again, if you really think about it, that was probably the reason was because we were stank little kids, hot, running around, and they know how to sit still. Because we didn't know what ADHD was or ADD because it hadn't been discovered yet. You know what I mean?
And mommy would say, okay, so when my oldest, I told her that I had got him tested. I said, they tested him for ADHD. I said, but he only has ADD. Come on, that boy. We go to psychologists. We don't do that. We don't do that. We don't. We just suck it up and they just want to act for school. That's all it is. That's all. And I'm like, no. And they on your sister. They're talking about Beanie. I was like, no, there was something wrong with me too. No. And you said, ain't nothing wrong with y'all. You don't need to take me to no doctor for that. But she took us to the doctor for everything else. We were hypochondriacs because we was in the hospital all the time. But then we later found out why we was always going to the doctor because they would give her some a voucher, money voucher. You should get $75, $25 for each child that she brought to the emergency room. And she took us there at a certain time because you got the voucher because you couldn't catch the bus because the bus stopped running. So we knew why. But anyway, just felt I had to say that.
I remember that too. I remember that.
Our parents back then didn't believe it. Well, a lot of them couldn't afford psychologists, but when the school, remember, I don't know if they do that now, but do they do that now where they test your child when they first start to come, they test you to see where your level is and if you have any type of, only if you ask now?
The ask for the teacher or somebody recommends it.
Oh, okay, because they tested everybody. Well, I know all of us possibly got tested, and they determined whether or not what level, or if we needed extra help, or if we actually had some type of disability.
Yeah, it's called an IEP.
Yes.
Let's call it now. Did they call it then too?
They didn't have it then.
They didn't have it then,
Well,
ain't they? So
they called it a 504 previous to
Right.
IEP. They called it was a
It used to be Title 1 and Title 2.
I do
yeah,
remember that.
and
Yep.
it was similar to that, but it was less comprehensive than an IEP
Right.
is these days, because we didn't really have OT, PT. We didn't
Right.
have a lot of that stuff because that stuff was still being developed in the 70s and 80s. And we treated all people that were neurodivergent as behavioral problems, and they got tracked in special ed, especially if you was
Yeah.
Black and you were disrupted.
Right.
They didn't know anything about neurodivergence, so it was something that it took a lot of years of study to understand, how to treat a lot of those things that need an IEP, because some kids get IEPs when they're young and then they grow out of them. Like my oldest, he had an IEP for a learning disability because he sometimes can't, it's not dyslexia. They said it's more like he puts words in the wrong place. So
Right.
he had assistance until he got to high school. And then when he got to high school, he didn't have the issues with that. And of course, he graduated from George Mason with his bachelor's and trying to go back to get his master's. So I'm happy about that.
Well, it was called resource classes, that you were separated out of those classes.
Title 1.
That's the Title one. Yeah, because I know I had to go. Oh, that's what. Because I know when I was in elementary and middle school, or back then as junior high, they would, and when it was time to test, they would remove you out of those classes with the other kids, so you have extra time. Because I know I read at a slower level, a slower pace. I understood, I just read slower. So they considered me in resource, and I got extra time to take my test. So, but that was like the furthest our parents would allow us to um go to find out about any disabilities. But she didn't believe in that. She didn't believe in it. And she was upset with me when I told her that I got him tested. And it actually helped out with him because he was able to understand it, get a help, redirect his mind and how he structured his life. He graduated out of college, finished out of military, and now he's architect for uh what is it? Construction company, I think it is. But anyway, it's just the fact that, there's things that our parents didn't believe in. And if we would have stayed with those beliefs, we wouldn't have been able to get our children the help that they need today and know a little bit more. Like you said, that your son had it while he was in, earlier schools until they got to high school, he had assistance. Back then they didn't believe in a lot of that stuff. They
No,
didn't believe in a lot of that
they
stuff.
didn't believe in it because they didn't understand it. And
Right.
if you don't have it, then if you don't know it, then what happens is you get there and it's like you just don't know where things are going to happen. So you don't, if you don't read up on it and you don't believe it. If you don't believe it, you're not going to take it seriously.
Remember, back then we didn't have the internet. We had the sources.
Yeah, and the encyclopedia and the Black Encyclopedia Britannica.
And encyclopedias that people went door to door selling. Till this day, my Aunt Lou still has her Encyclopedia Britannica, I think that's what it's called. And it's above her kitchen on the shelf on the wall, all across the wall. She still had that to this day.
Yep, and she's 91.
So you can imagine how old those things are. But that's what they had back then, and then what we have today, that they didn't know anything about that stuff. They just felt that people was trying to label our children and put our children backwards instead of going forward.
Yes, yes. There was a racial tinge to that, and that's kind of and in the 80s and 90s, that's where they started the school to prison pipeline, where if a black child did not toe the line, they were listed as troublesome, put in special ed, and then special ed, they got suspended more, and suspended more, you go to jail, and you keep the prisons full that way. So, everybody, oh, Miss Nikki said that her parents still has all those books also. But we have passed our time, and this was, with the exception of that little halftime show, we have reached the end of another wonderful episode of DFG's Corner with myself, DFG, Chocolate Pearl, my favorite girl, the lady sweet as Snapple, Miss Apple, our usual family members, Big Al, Miss Kim, Miss Summer, Miss Dream, Miss Nikki on Yahoo. I mean, on YouTube. We also usually on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, and TikTok Live. So every Tuesday morning, every Tuesday evening, I ask that you look. We also have bits and pieces on the show that I post on TikTok as well as YouTube. And I want y'all to say that, when you come on our call, you're not a contestant, you're a family, and we're going to treat you as such, both good and bad. So before we go, Chocolate Pro, you got anything to say to our audience before we go?
I just enjoyed this conversation. Going back in the day and kind of comparing it to today's um, atmosphere. I'm gonna say like that. I also want to say hey to Sheba. How are you doing, sweetie? I hope Apple is enjoying her time in my second hometown in Columbia, South Carolina. And thank everybody for joining us as usual. See you next week, same time, same channel, same bad time.
And Apple.
I'm just gonna say, good night, everyone. Thank you for joining once again. It was a great conversation. And I hope to see everybody again next week.
All right, people. I got a different one. I usually say don't make love by the garden gate, though love is blind and neighbors ain't. But I got a new mantra. If you can't laugh at yourself, find somebody else to laugh at. Y'all be good.